When bonding wood with epoxy, you may have heard people mention the process of priming the surface. This is also referred to using the term two-step bonding, and in this video we're going to take a look at what this process means, why it is good working practice to utilize it, and how it can be done. So first of all, what is it? For the purposes of this video, we are talking solely about bonding wood. Two-step bonding is simply the process of wetting out, coating or priming any bare wood surface before the joint is bonded together. For bonding, in most instances, we will want to thicken the epoxy with any number of different additives based on the properties that we want to create with the epoxy. The additive we choose may depend on the strength needed in the joint, the amount of gap filling that is necessary, or the physical properties of working the epoxy afterwards. Anyway, additives are a separate subject and we'll look at those in a separate video of its own. The priming or two-step bonding process is one where we wet out the wood first with an unthickened epoxy. This is usually allowed to slightly tack up before then assembling the joint with the desired thickened epoxy. The first reason that we'll look at for why we do this is joint starvation. Wood is an absorbent material, certain woods more so than others, and some joint types are more susceptible to this than others. End grain is a particular culprit for this, as it essentially forms a stack of tiny straws that will wick up liquids. After all, the wood grain's primary role when the tree is living is to wick up moisture from the roots and transport it up through the tree. So it makes sense that it carries on doing this to an extent even after the tree has died and we're now using it to make things. This effect can cause issues in bonding because as the wood absorbs the epoxy, it can have the effect of drawing it away from the joint. If, for example, two end grain faces have epoxy applied to them and they are then immediately assembled, the wood grain could proceed to draw the epoxy away from the mating faces, leaving behind a dry and consequently weak joint, with little glue left in it. By first priming the surface, we feed this absorbent grain with an unthickened epoxy, allowing it to soak up what it wants to ahead of time. Once it has absorbed all it wants to, we can then place the joint together and know that the glue that's in the joint will now stay put. Penetration of the wood grain is another reason that we might want to utilize this method. The unthickened epoxy will absorb deeper into the wood grain and will therefore have a greater hold on the wood due to its increased wood fiber contact. Thickened epoxy won't penetrate quite so deeply, but we still need this for a little gap filling in the joint. With the two-step bonding process, we can achieve the best of both worlds here. Aside from bonding, this process has a secondary benefit for protection of the wood. In many cases with epoxy woodworking and boat building, we may also be encapsulating the wood that we are bonding. Epoxy is of course a very effective coating product as well as a glue, so we have two functions here. If we prime all the surfaces first, we know that every face within the assembly is at least coated to some extent. In the event that there is a void left within the assembly, we have the assurance at least that each face within the assembly is individually sealed and coated ahead of time. Therefore, in the event of any water ingress further down the line, the transfer of rot or further water ingress will be limited by the epoxy barrier that we've just created. Voids happen within this type of work, probably more than you may realise, and pre-coating is the process here that will have your back, so it's a good idea to utilise it. Joint compression is another reason for utilising this process. For joints bonded with epoxy, we actually want to leave a little room for glue in order to have a strong bond. Joints should not really be clamped to death or sized for the press fit tightness that you might expect from furniture making or joinery. Over-clamping a joint can squeeze out the glue from within it and again lead to joint failure. Over-compression can also happen in unsuspecting areas and not just directly under your clamps. For example, in the middle of a large lamination curve, you may see a concentrated area of compression that could evict all or most of the glue from within the joint. Pre-priming surfaces and allowing them to tack up gives you a secondary backup here. As the tacky, unthickened epoxy resides in the wood fibres, this will retain a bond surface even if the second glue application is evicted through overcompression. Again, this process is a good backup method to utilise. So we've looked at a handful of reasons for why we might want to undertake this method, but how do we do it? It's quite simple really. Mix up some epoxy as usual. A couple of pumps will usually suffice for small joint surfaces. A glue brush tends to be my preferred method of wetting out joints. Wet out all mating faces to be bonded and allow the epoxy to absorb. Pay particular attention to end grain and you will likely see this start to look dried out again after a short period of time. For areas that are doing this, revisit them again with a second application until this stops happening. In a perfect world, we would wait for this application to start to tack up. A sellotape tacky surface is what we are ideally looking for, but we all know the deal when working on boats. Time like this isn't always a realistic luxury, so if you're in a rush, just keep an eye on the surface and make sure that the grain isn't still absorbing. If it looks like it's stopped, then you can press on and assemble the joint. Once it's tacked up or the absorption has finished, thickened epoxy can then be applied to the joint as necessary and everything can then be assembled. Now this is really the belt and braces way of bonding wood. As I've mentioned, it gives you a good fallback in the case of any potential voids by sealing each face individually. It also caters for scenarios where joints may end up over-compressed, and it prevents joint starvation when the bonding surfaces are more absorbent. Now this process isn't always realistic to do. When bonding large lamination stacks, for example, if we were to prime each face first, let that tack up and then assemble the joint, we could end up with parts stacked all over the workshop with sticky faces on both sides, which is not ideal. But there is also a midway method that we can use to compromise for tight glue lines, such as in a lamination stack. We can instead apply a lightly thickened epoxy to either face and then assemble the joints immediately. This could be considered a midway point and it's a lot quicker for assembly. I would generally use this practice for big lamination glue ups where time is of the essence and when I am gluing up face grain timber, which is not generally as absorbent as end grain. Lightly thickened epoxy can be applied using a roller or a notch spreader, which will help us to maintain an even glue application throughout the joint. So there we go, that is the two-step bonding process explained. Why you may want to use it, how it's typically done, and where you can deviate from the process slightly to save yourself some time when the clock is ticking. I would say this practice is essential in any instance where end grain is involved. Plywood scarves or end grain joints are a certain candidate, for example. Remember to look out for that thirsty end grain, and if you get that sufficiently primed, you'll have some seriously strong and reliable glue joints. Failure to do this could result in a joint failure down the line, and remember that this method also has your back in the event of any potential voids. So all in all, it's good working practice to undertake. I hope you found that quick tip video useful, and please remember to check out some of the other West System quick guides on my channel. And if you have any requests for topics that you would like to see covered in this series, then please let me know in the comments below. Okay, so thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.